to the cloud. All right, well, welcome everyone. We are going to be talking about the best spots to go visit for birds in Southeast Arizona this winter in November, December, January. And really the bird that pops up in almost all the questions I get about they start by when I'm visiting Tucson, when is the best time to go and see sandhill cranes? And so that's what we're going to touch on right now. Is here's some sandhill cranes at Cochise Lake, one of the easiest spots to go and find them. And I know many of you have gone and seen sandhill cranes here in Arizona. Some of you have not. So I think I have the three main locations of where to go see cranes. And so if you've been to Whitewater Draw or you've been to Cochise Lake, I think I have a spot where you may not have gone before for sandhill cranes. So all of us will find something out here about cranes. It's a really special bird. They got a really special voice, and they're huge. They're easy to see, and at the right time of year, there's thousands of them. And so even like whenever my parents or my in-laws come and visit in the winter, I love to go and take them to see the sandhill cranes because they're fun, they're easy, and they're loud. So the question that I normally get is where and when for sandhill cranes. And really the best time for sandhill cranes is from about middle end of November. I mean, they're present there starting at all these places, usually in middle of October or end of October, but in lower numbers and sometimes hit or miss. But really, when you get to end of November through the end of February, especially here at Whitewater Draw, that this picture is right here, there's over 10,000 of them at one time. And it's just awe-inspiring. It's amazing. I'm gonna stop my share and reshare so that I can share with sound too, because there's really something special about being able to hear these birds. So I have the sound up here. Play that. If I can get to it, I put it right in the wrong spot, right where. That's going to be hard. I wasn't thinking where I put this when there we go. That prehistoric sound is awesome. It's just amazing. Now I can't get it stopped because I can't right over my stop share thing, so I hit that. Almost stopped the share so that I can turn that off. I put that in the wrong spot. My other ones are all in the right spot, so that's good. Sorry about that. That's funny. But it's just like a prehistoric sound. And when you have 10,000 of these cranes coming in to Whitewater Draw, and that cacophony of sound is just like, it's amazing. So Whitewater Draw is really, if you want to see huge numbers of them in Arizona, that's the place to go. It's about an hour and 45 minutes southeast of Tucson, and I'm going to show you for all these three different spots. Here, let me put. So I'll show you a map of how to get to Whitewater Draw here pretty soon, but it really is a spot to go where if you want to see huge amounts of the cranes, that's where you want to go. So most of these cranes are lesser sandhill cranes. There's a couple different subspecies of cranes here, but the lesser ones are the most numerous. They're a little smaller. They breed up in the Arctic. And then there's a few of the greater subspecies, which are bigger, and they breed in like the northern United States. So like Wyoming, Montana, Minnesota, and then they come down here. But the majority, vast majority, are migrating all the way from the Arctic all the way down to our little corner of Arizona. And then they also come into New Mexico, like at Bosque del Apache, and they come down to Sonora to different places down there as well. But Whitewater Draw is run by Arizona Game and Fish. They have a great website that you can go to. Just type in Arizona Game and Fish, Sandhill Crane, or Whitewater Draw, Sandhill Crane, and you'll be directed to that website. They have a whole bunch of information there for you, as well as a Sandhill Crane camera. So there's a camera that looks out and shares video of the cranes there at Whitewater Draw. There's a lot of other bird species that you can see there during that time. So I have, let me go to, let's see, right here. And I believe I have an eBird list. This is from January of this year at Whitewater Draw. I was there with my family, so it wasn't like huge birding, but you know, I had my wife and kids and stuff. But you can see it's a little bit of a track around a really nice packed dirt trail, and from the parking lot as a good opportunity for snow geese there and possibly Ross's goose. So you'll want to look in your bird book to kind of prepare yourself for how to tell apart the different white geese that you might see there. Ross's geese in Southeast Arizona are really rare, but if you're going to see one, it's probably going to be somewhere at Whitewater Draw. And then quite a few other ducks there. Normally the most numerous duck is northern pintail. It looks like I had a pretty specific count there, 249. That's kind of funny. And then my count for Sandhill Cranes, 15,000. Hard to tell what that is. How many are there? But that's what it seemed like. And then another interesting bird that you can see there is an American pipit, kind of a small brown bird, but they have a really cool habit of like bobbing their tail up and down. I was out birding with Jim Hoagland, who's on the call with us up at Saddlebrook last week, and we had some American pipits come through there. They like to be kind of on the edges of water. So like if you're at a golf course somewhere, or if you're at any other like body of water, look along the edges for American pipits. But almost every time I go to Whitewater Draw in the winter, there'll be at least one American pipit along the edge of the water somewhere. Lots of caning towhees, and of course look for blackbirds. Looks like I didn't see any yellow-headed blackbirds there, but usually there's some yellow-headed blackbirds as well. So it's something that, let's get off of that. So this is what the pathways look there at Whitewater Draw, kind of this packed dirt, kind of open. This is not in the winter, this is during monsoon season, but you can see there's some benches along the way. It's really easy traveling. You know, I don't know if you if someone would be comfortable taking a wheelchair around there. It might be a little bit tough, especially if it's muddy, but they do have some nice benches to just kind of easy walking along there. And you can see this is all open here, and usually in the winter they pump some water in here, and they'll have like edges of water, and the cranes will come in and land out here in this kind of on the right side. Now, sometimes you wonder like, what time of day should I get there? Do I have to get there super early? It's an hour and 45 minutes away. You don't have to get there super early. In fact, a lot of times it's a great place to take the family, because you can wake up late, grab breakfast somewhere, head out there, get there around 11 or 11:30, and the cranes are coming back in from their morning eating, and they fly back in for roosting, usually between like 11 and 1 o'clock. So you can get there a little bit later, and then have lunch there if you want. And I remember, I think it was that day in January we were there, and there was just people lined up along the edges with like chairs. In fact, I remember seeing one group of people in their chairs just watching the cranes with cheese and wine right there along the edge. And it looked awesome. It was just like, you know, just enjoying their day out there, their afternoon, watching the cranes come in. So it's a pretty easy spot. Any specific questions on Whitewater Draw? I'll have a map to show you how to get there here in a little bit, but any other questions about that? All right, I'm not hearing anything. Feel free to unmute yourself at different times like that if that'd be helpful if you have a question. Oh, go ahead, Jody.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say I was there about a week ago, and there are already at least 1,000 or so, cranes and a few snow geese. What was also beautiful were a group of Harris's hawks who were flying in real close.
Whoa, Harris hawks there. Not Northern Harriers, Harris hawks?
Harris's hawk.
Oh, I've never seen Harris's hawk there before. That's pretty.
Yeah, it was very exciting because I've rarely seen them in the wild myself. So.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks for that update. And yeah, so
I don't know if they're still around, but they were.
Yeah, they could have moved. You just never know what's going to show up. That's cool. Look, thanks, Jody.
Look, if you go to the Sandhill Crane webcam, you'll see a bunch of them right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to just watch for that date when they first come in. Usually it's sometime in October, and the numbers just start piling up, and so you could definitely go there right now and have good numbers. I do think the peak kind of comes in December, January. So like if you're wanting like huge numbers, you wait just a little bit, but going now is great too. Thanks for those updates. Jim, you got your hand up.
Yeah, Luke, I want to talk about timing there. In California, I was always had to be there early in the morning to watch the takeoffs and in the evenings to watch it come in. It just seems there that it's almost day round or all day. Is that the case, or is that just I got lucky that day when a bunch were coming in about 10 o'clock or so?
Not like I said, I really like being there from like 10 to noon, 11 to 1, that time frame. So often, like we talk about, we have to get out there at dawn. That's the best time for birding. And we harsh ourselves out as birders, getting up early and going to the spot. This might be like one of those opportunities to just like have a great day of birding and not wake up early and getting there a little later, because they're coming back in from all the ag fields around Wilcox and Douglas and Elfree, all those different spots. So just about, you can time it, them coming back like around 11:30 every day.
Hey, Luke, does Arizona have any, like they do in California, pop-up water areas that they do it in the fields?
Well, I mean, if you go up like Santa Cruz Flats, different ag fields flood their fields at different times. So that's definitely something, but we don't have any way of knowing when that's going to happen.
Actually, I think it's Nature Conservancy that does that.
Yeah,
they pay the farmers.
Nothing like that around here.
Okay.
That I know of.
Hey, Luke, I've got a question about this area and other areas to the south. There was a time when there were some problems in there because of being close to the border. Is that still, do you feel safe when you're there? Is that still an issue?
Yeah, this whitewater draw is, I would say, very, very safe. One of the main reasons is that it's visited by a lot of people. So there's a lot of like, there's a lot of public, well, there's just a lot of people there. So it's, it's not going to be used as a spot for people coming up through or anything. It's very open. It's very, just accessible by the public. So it's not, I've never had any weird encounters there at all. I've just had there's a lot of people there. So that's good because, if you're wondering if there's any illegal trafficking or anything going on through there, it makes it pretty safe for that. So yeah, I haven't seen any issues there. Good question. Thanks, Nancy. Allison, you have your hand up and then we'll move on.
I saw that you had a Virginia rail on your list. I was wondering if there were any other kinds of rails that you see there on a regular basis or in the winter.
Yeah, Virginia rail and Sora. And then if you want to count American coots is a rail too. You'll have those. So I normally would see the Virginia rail, Sora, or American coot over on the left side of this picture. So this trail goes around the edge of this area where you can walk at Whitewater Draw, and all the cranes will be off on the right out in the big open fields. And then you're walking around this kind of marshy area here that'll be in the center of the walk. And that's where you'll have Sora, that's where you'll have Virginia rail and coots, and most of your blackbirds, song sparrows will be in that center portion. I probably played a Virginia rail call. I probably did some callback for that. You know, you want to be you know, careful with how much you use callback, but I think like right here for Virginia rail and not breeding or anything like that, playing a quick one call to see if anything responds is good. But yeah, it would be right in here on that left side, and I've had Sora in there too. Thanks, Allison. All right. Another spot. I'm going to be talking about 3 different spots for cranes. The second spot is right off the freeway at Cochise Lake. And this is a place where I would say get there early. So Whitewater Draw, you can kind of sleep in, get there when the cranes are coming back. Cochise Lake for cranes, I like getting there early for a number of reasons. One is they're not, I don't know the timing for them coming back to Cochise Lake as well as I do for Whitewater Draw. So I don't know if and what time they return, but they do roost here. And the morning light that comes in onto the cranes at this time is really cool. It's like gives this golden color. So I was here super early. This is in February of this year. It's around, I think around 7:30. Me and my friend, we just pulled up and all these cranes were out there. They're kind of getting restless. You can see some of them starting to take off, and then they head out to feed from there. But I like getting here early for the light. I like getting here early so that I can also kind of bird some of the other areas around the lake. Yeah, just the next slide I'm going to show you is of a scaled quail. So like the best time to see scaled quail is early in the morning. And there's a golf course right along this Cochise Lake, right in the town of Wilcox. And these scaled quail love to be right on the golf course. And so it's not a bird that we normally think of as high up on our list, but once you get to a point where like, you know, oh, what am I missing? What bird am I missing? Well, a lot of times, oh, I'm missing scaled quail. I've never seen that. And the spot where I always tell people to go is right there at Cochise Lake and the golf course around it. It's a beautiful bird, and to see a sandhill crane and scaled quail on the same day is always a special treat. Here's, I'm gonna see, I showed you that eBird list for Whitewater Draw. I think I have, yeah, here's one. This is from when I took that picture of the cranes there at Cochise Lake in February of this year. So it's true for start November all the way through February for Sandhill Cranes. And it looks like, I mean, yeah, 2,000 cranes there that morning. So not as in big of numbers as Whitewater Draw, but it's a good location and it's a fun location to take pictures at. Again, Virginia rail, Allison, there's another spot to find your Virginia rail. So as you can see the little map here, you see you drive around the lake, and then this is the golf course. Actually, let's see if I can scroll in here. I don't know this. Oh, here we go. Here's a big picture of where I walked. So you can see, oh, this is cool. I didn't even know about this function. So here's Wilcox right here in the freeway. And I'll show you another map, but you come off, you drive through Wilcox, whoop, away. And then you take, there's awesome signs for this. You take the Rex Allen Drive and it goes right by a border patrol office here. And you come south on this road and you'll start driving by the golf course. When you start driving right through here, you want to start looking mostly on this side of the golf course side for the scaled quail. And then you come up here and you can just kind of scan the lake from this first vantage point. And then you can drive around this whole lake here to get different vantage points of the Sandhill cranes and other birds that would be out here. So I always, they're usually kind of skittish, so I like to come right where this dot is at. You can see that's where I started my list, because we came up that road and we stopped there to look at the cranes. And that picture I put up there was taken with my phone from the car window. So that's kind of like how close you are to them. And then once you kind of check out the cranes and drive around the lake, then what you need to do is come back to this little parking area and park here next to the golf course and walk out to this little spot with your binoculars or a spotting scope and look out all in this grasses for meadowlarks, scaled quail, other maybe long spurs, other weird things out here. And then you walk along this little road. Don't drive on it because you'll scare things away. You want to walk along this road. There's a little tree right here that black-crowned night herons love. So you want to look for that. And then these ponds right here are usually full in the winter. And this is a great spot for hundreds and hundreds and sometimes thousands of American widgeon. And a couple of years I've had Eurasian widgeon out in these flocks. And so they'll either be out here in these ponds or they'll be in the grass of the golf course over here. And so you just use the binoculars or a scope. Scope is really handy here to try and sift through those hundreds of American widgeon to find one with a chestnut head that is that Eurasian widgeon. So this spot for Sandhill crane is not as many of them. You need to get there early, but it's close, just an hour and 15 minutes away. And also gives you that benefit of looking for scaled quail, where you can see scaled quail at whitewater draw too, but I've had much better luck here. And then also another bird to look for. This is a really bad picture, but it was taken at the Wilcox Golf Course. This is a sage thrasher. So really small, straight bill, and it kind of looks like a mockingbird. But sage thrasher is a good one to find around that golf course as well. So there's a couple things to be aware of. Any specific questions on this Wilcox Cochise Lake spot for cranes?
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah,
Jody.
Jody.
You mentioned long spurs.
Yeah, yep.
So, how common are they, and where are you likely to find them?
If I'm here at Cochise Lake looking for long spurs, the spot where I most often see them, which is not every time. It just depends on the year. Some years are better for long spurs than others.
These are chestnut colored long spurs, or
chestnut colored long spurs.
Uh-huh.
You can get thick-billed long spurs out here too. I've never seen thick-billed long spurs. At the next talk I do like this in January, I'm going to talk about a spot for thick-billed long spurs and chestnut colors, so a little bit more there. But this little, you see this little kind of almost dry-looking pond here on the left of the lake?
Uh-huh.
That's the spot where I would normally see long spurs here. So after you look at the cranes here, and you drive around really slow, just kind of glassing, looking around.
Yeah.
And when you get to this little pond here, you want to just kind of like American pipits. They like to come into these water holes and grab something to drink, and then they'll fly off. So they don't stick around as much as the pipits, but they are often seen around these little watering holes. And usually there's about the only birds I ever see on this little pond right here, this little thing is long spurs or Savannah sparrows, Vesper sparrows, but this is the spot to look for them. Good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so I've outlined a little bit. This is kind of where whitewater draw is at, southeast of Tucson, an hour and 45 minutes away. It's a little black circle. Here's the Cochise Lake spot here at Wilcox. And then the next spot I'm going to talk about for Sandhill Cranes might not be on anyone's radar, and it's further away, but it's still considered Southeast Arizona. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's to this little town of Duncan, Arizona. Has anyone ever been to Duncan, Arizona before? I'll take that as a no. So this is a brand new spot. So when we look at Sandhill Cranes, and whoop, that's the wrong one. Let me go back here, you share. When we look at Sandhill Cranes, and where is, all right, that's what I want to get to right there. Oh, shoot, that's not. Trying to get to, how do I get out of this?
Try hitting escape.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I just, all right. So everyone see the eBird little patch here with the purple on it? Make sure we're all looking at the same thing. So you have, this is Sandhill Cranes in Southeast Arizona. You got 3 main dark purple spots. Here is whitewater draw. This is just for this year, by the way. This is Cochise Lake. And then over here is Duncan, Arizona. This is in Greenlee County, right on the Arizona-New Mexico border. And it's a very underbirded county. Greenlee County is one of those spots, like if you want to go and find something new or find a new hot spot, if you want to go exploring, you want to get away from people, this is where you want to go. So the thing with Duncan, Arizona is that it's not as many cranes, but also not as many people. So some of you love to go birding with big groups of people and socialize, and that's part of your birding experience. A lot of times that's me, but there's also some different times in our birding lives where we just want to get away and just do something on our own away from everyone else. So I would invite you to go to the little town of Duncan, Arizona, where there's fewer people. I get it about 2.5 hours away. And a lot of the same birds that you can see at whitewater draw, a lot of the birds that you can see at Cochise Lake, fewer waterfowl. So not as much waterfowl, more focused on other birds like lark buntings, ferruginous hawk. Of course, you can see ferruginous hawks anywhere there in that Sulphur Springs Valley, which is that Wilcox to whitewater draw valley. But ferruginous hawk is a fun one to see wherever you're at, and Duncan, Arizona tends to be a good spot. There's a hotel that I've stayed at called the Simpson Hotel, which is right in town, which is a great spot to stay. They do a lot of, they have some, on their website, some information about birding and the Duncan birding trail. So you can go to the Simpson Hotel website and check that out. Also, there's very few spots in Southeast Arizona where you can see an American crow. And the one time I was there, I had an American crow, and then I was looking at other, for many of you, American crow, like what's a big deal with American crow? But it's a good one for Southeast Arizona. But I was looking at some other checklists recently from that area, and they've had American crows as well. And it's close to a town called Safford, which is my last name. So you can think of me as you drive through that town to get there. There is one eBird hotspot that I would really encourage you to go to. It's called Railroad Wash Road. And so we're going to look at that, that eBird hotspot here. Let's go to that. If I can get to the right thing. Boom. So Railroad Wash, I believe, is that one, the bottom one. Yeah, Franklin, Railroad Wash Road. So this is the end of October this year, but a few these guys are expert birders. would have been a fun trip to be on with Felipe, David, and Gary. But they went out there and did some birding in this area, and they had 75 Sandhill Cranes. So like when you go to Duncan, you're not going to see thousands of cranes. You'll probably see hundreds of cranes. So none of us should have like these high expectations of huge numbers, but they are there, and you want to drive around in the different ag fields and walk the birding trail that's there along the Gila River. But then also probably the best spot is this railroad wash road, which is, I believe it's kind of a dirt road, gravel road, not a bad road at all. But you can see some of the birds that they had, vermilion flycatchers, of course, there. And they had a couple of American crows, which since I've moved here, I've hardly seen any of them. They had a few long spurs as well, chestnut color long spurs, Lawrence's goldfinches, which seem to be everywhere these days. And I was also looking at some other eBird reports from this railroad wash road during the winter months, and swamp sparrow is one to be looking and listening for in this area as well, which is not one that we normally get here as well. So we can look at the map of this hotspot a little bit more to get an idea of what we have. So here's Railroad Wash, right off the main highway, which is Highway 70, and it's, like I said, a dirt road that kind of curves around. There's a little repairing section, and I've only been here one time, so I know this area, but I don't really know this area. It's been a couple of years since I've been here as well, but I found it to be really interesting because hardly anyone had been here. But there's a little repairing area here. You drive through these ag fields, and near the end of the road, you get right along the Gila River, which is actually flowing. So when we think of rivers here in Southeast Arizona, a lot of times there's like no flowing water. But that's another thing that really makes it special, is that there's actual flowing water. I've been in a pontoon boat going down the Gila River right in this area, which tells you something about how much water will be flowing through there. But these cranes love these ag fields right along the river on either side of the road. And then once you get to the river, you can get out and kind of walk along the road and all the way up to the New Mexico border. So it's a pretty cool area, repairing area right through here as well. Out of the way, you're out in the boonies. So, you know, keep that in mind. But if you decide to go there, you want to look around and check out the other hot spots there as well. Like I said, I've only been there. It was like a 3-day stretch. I stayed at that Simpson Hotel and kind of birded around there. It was December of 2016, so, or 15. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a while ago. But I just remember it being pretty special and away from everyone, and there was cranes. So any other questions about Duncan, Arizona and birding this area that maybe I can answer?
Yeah, Luke, have any idea what it's like in the spring?
I've never been there in the spring. Like I said, it's a very, I use this word, underbirded. Like it's, you know, there's not very many people in the neighboring towns that go and visit. There's a couple of people I know in that area, but you have to be like very purposeful for going out of your way to this area. And it just doesn't happen very often. So that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure what it's like there in the spring, other than what I would do is if I had that question, I would go to eBird, to the hotspot location right here, like what we're on. And there's a little calendar function up here near the top that says year round, all years. And I would change it to the month. So I would go to April, keep it with all years and set it. And then there's only been 2 checklists from this railroad wash road hotspot in all the years, 44 species. And here are the species. Oh, common blackhawk. So that's an interesting bird that probably breeds there. So if it's there by looks like middle of April. That could be a breeder that you could find there, common Blackhawk. You can see the other birds that we're seeing there, hooded and Bullocks orioles, pine siskins. So it's a good little mix. It's an interesting place. All right. If you want specific directions to any of these other spots that I've talked about, just let me know. Or if you want specific directions for the whitewater draw location, you can go to the Where to Go Birding in November from last year, where I talked a little bit more about that as well. So we're going to move away from cranes. Any last questions on cranes? All right, we're going to move forward. So I'm going to talk about a location that I kind of been going to quite a bit this past month. So I mostly went there kind of like end of September and October, but I think it has good potential for the winter months as well. And it's called Mile Wide Road. Mile Wide Road is near West Saguaro National Park. It's just west of the visitor center there, out towards, like if you're at the Desert Museum and you're walking around up there and you look out to the west and you see these big, kind of almost like big ponds that are out there, out in the middle of the desert. Those are the recharge basins where they capture the Colorado River water. Cap recharge basins is what they're called. And this Mile Wide Road is just on the north side of where those big basins are located at. So I'm going to show you a map. If I can find the right tab. All right, so here's Tucson and Saguaro National Park. And if you zero in, here is the Saguaro National Park Visitor Center and Kinney Road. And here's Mile Wide Road. So I'm gonna go to this right here. It's kind of this different map. And you go out past the Desert Museum, which is right here. And you stay, instead of turning right to go to the Kinney Road, to go to the visitor center, you just stay on the main road, which turns into Mile Wide Road. And you'll cross Sandhill Road, which is, there's a stop sign right here. You get to the stop sign, instead of going north to Marana or going south to Highway 86, you'll just go straight. And as I back up here, you can see these are these big recharge basins that you see from the Desert Museum. And Mile Wide Road goes just on the north side of that. And as I'm driving along, as you're driving along, you'll come up to where these recharge basins hit the road. You can't really see in these recharge basins, but you can stop right here at this wash. There's a little bridge that crosses right here. Cross over the bridge, kind of park on the side of the road and scan along the edges here, and especially the power poles. You want to look at the power poles for prairie falcons or osprey or black vulture, crested caracara. These are all these different raptors that frequent this area. There will be northern harriers that will be cruising along through here as well. And every once in a while, you'll see maybe some egrets or another kind of water bird or heron circling around, and should have red-winged blackbirds or yellow-headed blackbirds as well. But so I spent a little time there, and then you can see this basin right here is usually dry, but usually what I'll do is I'll park along the edge of the road. This is a gravel road right through here, real easy driving. But I'll park right around in here somewhere, and for the main quarry of what I'm looking for. And the main thing that I'm looking for when I come to Mile Wide Road is a thrasher called a Bendire's thrasher. And November, December, January, February are really the best times to see or hear a Bendire's thrasher. Many times they're very hard to find. You can see it's pretty sparse when it comes to vegetation, but that's what Bendire's thrasher really likes. And it's not a real colorful bird. I'll show you a picture here pretty soon, but it's one of those birds that we usually don't put ourselves in the situation to see. And many of us are familiar with curve-billed thrashers, and you can see and hear curve-billed thrashers around here too. So it gives you an opportunity to really like hone in your listening and ID skills, trying to tell between the Bendires and the curve-billed thrasher. But I like just parking here and just walking. It's about like, a quarter of a mile, half of a mile that I walk back and forth right through here. Also, Lawrence's goldfinch is one that I've been seeing through here as well. You can get common ground doves, lots of sparrows, vesper sparrows. It's a fun little spot. It's kind of a ways out there. You can see what it looks like, just like a lot of weedy patches. But this is the start of that little recharge basin that's normally dry on the north side. And this fencing right here, a lot of times you'll have birds that perch right up on the fencing. And they're the same thing over here. A little bit more mesquite trees over on this, which is the south side of the road here. But in November, 102 species, which is pretty good for only 113 checklists. Doesn't get a lot of visitation out there. This is a picture that I took through that fence. You can see the fence right here. And this is my picture of a Bendire's thrasher through my scope through that fence. You can kind of see the chain link fence there. But you can see it's kind of like that sage, like in between the sage thrasher that I showed you earlier and the curve-billed thrasher that we normally see as far as bill length and curve of the bill. So it's a smaller bill and less curve, more straighter bill than a curve-billed thrasher. The spotting on it is a little bit different on the breast. You see they both have the yellow eye, but the big thing is the sound. So hopefully I'll still have the sound coming through here. I'm gonna play a Bendire's thrasher song. I played the Bendire's thrasher song and the curve-billed thrasher song for my daughter, who's not a birder, yesterday. And I was like, hey, Ashton, try to tell the difference between these two. And she said they sounded the same to her. So they might sound the same to you as well, but gonna see if you can pick out some differences, and we'll talk about what those differences might be after we hear them. So first, I'm gonna play a Bendire's thrasher song for us. That's pretty squeaky, in my opinion. But how would any of you describe that song besides squeaky?
It's more repetitive.
Yeah, very repetitive. And squeaky. I like squeaky.
Yeah, some of the same phrases again and again.
Yeah, one thing I
Curve-billed
hear is kind of like
Curve-bill's more musical.
musical. Okay.
Curve-billed is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what, okay. I'm glad you brought, because that's exactly what I was thinking, Joan. So I'm gonna play the curve bill. Before I do that, there's like one repetitive part of the Bendire's that kind of goes, it kind of like a back and forth kind of sound. Anyway, so that's what I think of anyways when I hear it. And here's curve build. And just like Joan said, I believe it's more musical too, instead of squeaky. And maybe a little lower. Here we go. Oh, what? Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted. I want to play. There we go. Okay, so that's curve build. More musical. What do you guys think?
Much less squeaky.
Definitely more musical.
Yeah.
Right, right.
It's a clear tone, fairly clear tone.
Yeah, I think it's really good to kind of put words to things
Kind of
like,
staccato, but clear tone.
yeah.
Seems like
So,
more variety.
yeah, more variety.
Yeah.
So are they actually singing in the like November in the winter?
Yeah. So I was there even in the first part of October. I heard Ben Dyer's singing there. But especially once you get into December and January, they'll really start singing. They're very early breeders. So thrashers are actually they're easiest to see in the winter months, especially December, January, February. But I believe they'll be singing in November too. But they do also have a just like the call, just like a Kerr-bill thrasher has that weep call. Ben Dyer's has a call that's a little similar. So you'll want to go to like, well, you can listen to them on eBird or go to Xenocanto, XENO -CANTO, Xenocanto, and they'll have different recordings on there. That's where I usually pull my recordings from, is from Xenocanto. The Ben Dyer's thrasher was actually from Xenocanto, taken by Scott Olmsted, who is one of our Southeast Arizona Birding Festival filter bleeders at Mile Wide Road. And then the Kerr-bill was taken, I believe, in Ventana Canyon by Scott Crabtree, who's one of our volunteer filter bleeders as well. So it's a new spot that I've been going to, trying to get my name up on the top 10 list for eBird on that. Haven't really succeeded yet, but check that spot out. I want to go and talk about a couple different locations right in town a little quickly. Not all of us are going to take the hour-and-a-half drive to Whitewater Draw or the 3-hour drive to Duncan, or even the 45-minute drive out to Mile Wide Road, because amazingly, it takes forever to get to that west side of town and past the Tucson mountains if you live in town. Many of us will go to spend most of our birding time in the local parks. And I'm just going to hit on two parks that I've talked about. Fort Lowell Park before in the past, but really in November, it's a fantastic spot to go and visit in November. It's super easy, it's super close, accessible right in town. They have the little pond where there's American widgeon everywhere around there, sometimes storm widgeon, but it's just a really good spot to go and check out. And there's a lot of birds there right now, bluebirds especially. So this is a Western bluebird. I should have labeled it. I forgot to label the bird here, but this is a Western bluebird. This picture is not taken at Fort Lowell Park. I think it was taken in Florida Canyon actually, but you can get Western bluebird and Eastern bluebird at Fort Lowell Park right now. And let's see, nope, I don't have a map up there, but let me show you exactly where, if you're going to go there, where you're going to look for bluebirds. Go back to Mile Wide Road, scroll out to Tucson, and I'll show you where Fort Lowell Park is at too. So here's Tucson, and we're looking for Fort Lowell Park. So all the greens are little parks. This little green, this little square right here on Craycroft and Glen is Fort Lowell Park. So as we scroll in, you can even start seeing the little pond right there. And I'm going to turn on my different layers, and you can see Fort Lowell Park. You just come in here and park in this big main parking area, and then you'll want to walk around this building and kind of this whole section here. All the bluebirds love to hang out right in this section. There's also been a yellow-bellied sapsucker that has been seen there recently. I'm not exactly sure this year where it's being seen at, but last year it was being seen right in these trees, almost right at the entrance off of Craycroft. So you'll want to come through here and just keep your eyes peeled along the trunks of the trees for yellow-bellied sapsucker. Of course, you can get red-naped in there as well. Be aware of the differences there. And the western and eastern bluebirds love these trees right through here. Also, lark sparrows is another good one to look for there. And then when you come over to the pond, look for belted kingfisher, can be a good spot as well. So if you're birding parks in Tucson, you got to go there. The other park that I would really recommend going to in the winter months, starting in November, is Kennedy Park. Now, Fort Lowell, more in Midtown. Kennedy Park, more on the west, southwest side of town. And before I show you the map of that, Williamson sapsucker is one of these kind of rare sapsuckers that kind of show up every once in a while. For the past 2 winters, there's been this female that's been seen at Kennedy Park. I don't think it's been seen yet this year, but it's going to show up just about any time. And they love the Aleppo pine trees that are near the ball fields. There's also at Kennedy Park a big lake, and this lake is super good for redheads and tons of American coots. So redhead is one of those waterfowl that's I always find them to be pretty special. They got blue bills. The males have like these kind of, if the sun hits it right, like brilliant red head and black and white. It's a very awesome looking duck. And you can see them at Reed Park, like by the zoo at the little pond there as well. That's really accessible. But I like coming here at Kennedy Park, and oftentimes you can see bronze cowbirds as well. This is a bronze cowbird, one to look for at Kennedy Park. You can see here, usually what I'll do is I'll come off of, this is, oh shoot, I think this is Mission Road that goes north here. This is Ajo Way, so you'll take Mission Road north off of Ajo and come on the north side of the library and park right in here. And there's like a tennis courts and ball fields over here. You'll want to walk from here over to these Aleppo pines by the ball fields, and that's where the Williamson sapsucker has been in the winter. And then you'll walk up to this road and come along through here to scan the lake for redheads and American coots. And usually either through this section right through here, or this kind of southeast section of the lake is where I usually see bronzed cowbirds. And bronze cowbirds can be kind of hard to find at different times around Tucson, but in the winter, they kind of congregate at certain parks. So Kennedy Park is one spot where I'll usually see them. Lakeside Park in southeast Tucson is another pretty good spot to find them as well. So here's that picture of where Fort Lowell Park is at. I'm gonna scroll back to show you where Kennedy Park is at. Here's Tucson, and Ajo is down here. Make sure I'm going the right spot. Irvington, Valencia. Oh, sorry, up here. It's not as south as that. So you come down I-19. Here's the main Ajo, which turns into Highway 86. You'll take the Ajo Way exit. Here's Mission Road. Okay, so I was right. That is Mission Road. And you'll there's a light here. Take a right on Mission. And then you just park here. And then Lakeside Park. No, I don't have a thing for that on my PowerPoint, but I'm going to show you where Lakeside is at as well. And I'm just going to type it in here. Lakeside Park, Tucson. Another good spot for bronze cowbird. And that's over here on the southeast side. So you can kind of scroll back. So no matter where you live in Tucson, whether on the west, southeast, midtown, 3 good parks to go to for bronze cowbird, sapsuckers, bluebirds. November is a great month to visit parks. And of course, Reed Park right in the middle is where I would go to. Any questions? Oh, Karen. Yeah, go ahead, Karen. Oh, you're on mute. Go ahead and take yourself off mute there.
Trying to. There we go.
There, yep, got you.
Okay. I've been down to Canoa Ranch and have been really impressed with the improvements that have gone on over the years.
Oh, same here.
And they have a lot of redheads on that lake also right now.
Yeah.
So if you do like to go to Canoa Green Valley, I usually go there and then zip up Madeira Canyon and take a look and stuff. But that's been really impressive. I've been going down there trying to see my sparrows. The lesser gold, or not the Lawrence's goldfinches are there, but trying to get the clay colored sparrow there. Still working on it. But
yeah.
It's good fun.
Let me see. I'm trying to find. Oh, Canoa Ranch is right here. I was looking in the wrong spot.
Sure.
So I'm hoping to talk more about Canoa Ranch in January. And the reason I've been waiting is I want to bring on one of my friends. His name is Brian Nicholas. Some of you may know Brian, but Brian is like, he knows Canoa Ranch like the back of his hand. And I don't know it as well because I don't get down there as often. But Karen is super right. Like, it is a fantastic spot to go to in the winter. There was a redhead there almost all year, I think. There was one.
And boy, what else? With the Lawrences, the Brewers, I think I got 6-7 different sparrows, the lark sparrow. I went down there to work on my sparrows, but it's been fun. Usually there was a snowy and the great egret there the other day, and then great blue herons sometimes fly over.
Yep. Yeah, and I know a few others of you that's kind of like your patch as well. I know Joan goes there a lot, and others of you who live in Green Valley like that. Not everyone has that quick access to the Tucson parks, and sometimes, like Green Valley, the spot to go to is definitely Canoa Ranch. So thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Actually, I live near Fort Lowell, and the thing that I was going to say about Fort Lowell is that it's also nice to just go off into the wash area because you have access from I think it's pecan groves or some sort of groves on the east side of Fort Lowell Park. And then you just drop down into the wash and you can pick up a lot of the desert birds there in the wash.
Yep. And what Karen is talking about is definitely right. So this is the normal spot where you'd park. And so you could park there, but you could also, there's a little entry into Fort Lowell Park here as you drive a little bit further east on the Glen. And this comes around the ball field and then goes around this little pecan grove right here, which is actually a really good spot too, because they'll water these pecan trees and there'll be like standing water underneath these pecan trees and all the birds are coming in along the edges. So you can just kind of like park yourself somewhere along the edge of the pecan trees and just watch the birds come in and drink the water through there. Karen, I don't know if you've ever done that before or noticed.
I have the little rivulet that goes through there. That's where I got the red-naped sapsucker when I was through there the last winter, and gnat catchers down in the wash.
Yep. So to access the wash that Karen's talking about, you'll park right here, and then this drops down through a little riparian section, and then this is kind of Pantano Wash, and then there's a near the confluence where it connects up with the Rito as well. But you can walk along this section here, and a good spot for road runners and, like Karen said, black-tailed gnatcatchers and cactus wrens and Abert's towhees through there. Cool. Thanks, Karen. Any other thoughts or questions as we wrap up here?
Yeah, can I bring up another park that I keep hearing about?
Oh, sure.
Okay, Arthur Pack Park?
Yeah.
What's
for sure.
Anything there? I mean, I keep seeing it on the list.
So I'll be honest. So I am a stone's throw from Arthur Pack Park right now. So right now I'm at the Tucson Audubon Mason Center up in Northwest Tucson. So just to give you an idea, here's Tucson. And then as you go up towards Oro Valley, Marana, this right here is Thornydale, right here where the Costco's at and everything. And I'm right here. It's not showing up. Let me Tucson Audubon Mason Center should be boom right there. So that's where I'm at right now. Arthur Pack Park is right here. Here's Arthur Pack Park. There's a trail that kind of connects the Mason Center with the Arthur Pack Park and goes around the Crooked Tree Golf Course as well. So when you see people posting about Arthur Pack Park, a lot of it is from the trail, and they're looking down into the golf course ponds as well. So like a few folks like John Williams, where he'll post about seeing snow geese out here, or he'll post about seeing other species. A lot of times there's along the golf course. I have not actually been out there to go bird that area, even though I'm right here. I don't know why I haven't, but here's what I would suggest is we host field trips that originate here at the Mason Center on Saturday mornings, the first and third Saturday mornings for November and December, and then every Saturday morning, January and February, that are led by Tucson Audubon volunteers. They originate here at the Mason Center and they go for a walk up into Arthur Pack and look at the golf course as well. And they're led by three of our volunteers, Jim Gessman, Mary Ellen Flynn, and Ray Deeney. And they do a great job. And they, if you could get signed up for one of those Mason Center trips, and they'll be able to kind of show you all the different spots to look for birds through there. The field trips for December are going to be, they're posted right now, and they're going to open for registration this Saturday. Since all of you are still on here and we're way past time, and so you guys are dedicated, I'm going to give you a little insight into when you can sign up for field trips. So don't take advantage of this, okay? But I'm going to give it to you. Is that I don't work Saturday morning, so I can't activate. I'm not going to activate the links for registration Saturday morning. I activate them before I go home for the day on Friday. So if you go to our website this Friday evening, you'll see that all the links will be active, but not everyone will see that until the email goes out Saturday morning. So you can get on there and sign up for these Mason Center walks ahead of time if you want to, if you're so inclined. And what I'd also say is that we're asking people to limit themselves to a total of 2 Tucson Audubon field trips a month. So don't go in there and sign up for all the field trips. And what I would also suggest is please don't sign up for both of the Mason Center walks in December, just one of them. But that's what I would encourage you to do if you haven't done so already. And that'll give you the best best idea of how to bird Arthur Pack Park in this area up here.
Thank you so much, Luke.
Yeah, for sure.
We winter in Ironwood Meadows across the road from Arthur Pack. And we hike quite often in Arthur Pack Park, and we don't see a lot of birds there. Our preference is to go to Catalina State Park and you know, some of the other areas, and down to Sweetwater. So just so you know, that doesn't mean you won't see something there, but we haven't been very lucky. So.
Oh, thanks for that, Lois. And I'm like
You're
you.
welcome.
I'd much rather go to Catalina State Park or Sweetwater. I don't know why, but that's just my preference.
Yeah, we like to go up to Oracle too, up to Oracle State Park.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we have field trips going up to Oracle State Park on a regular basis now too. So that's cool. I'm glad you live right by my office, Lois. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. We hope to be there. We hope to be there soon.
I'm going to share one last thing, and you know, for those of you that are sticking around. Here, I always like to give a rare bird of the month, and streak-backed oriole is definitely a rare bird. And The last time a streakback oriole was seen in Tucson was at Himmel Park, which is near Campbell and Speedway, in November of last year. So another park to go check out, Himmel Park near Campbell and Speedway, right in the middle of town. And take a look for streakback oriole. That would be a fun one to go see, but that's kind of on my mind right now. If you live in town, you can put out some oranges, maybe it'll attract one of these special birds. You just never know what you might see. All right, so I'm gonna stop my share. And any last questions or thoughts before we close up? I have a little bit of time as well.
Luke, I was just going to ask if you would give me a chance to talk about.
Oh,
birds in
hey,
North
yeah,
America
Maria,
before-
for sure.
Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Maria Caprile. I'm the artistic director for Winding Road Theater Ensemble here in Tucson. And the beautiful, wonderful Tucson Audubon Society is sponsoring our next production, which is called Birds of North America. There you can see it. There we go. Birds of North America. It is a beautiful two-person play about a father-daughter relationship, and the whole thing takes place over the course of 10 years, series of conversations that all take place while they are birding. So we decided to do this one out of doors. We're doing it at the Valley of the Moon. It's all outside. It's all matinees over 2 weekends, November 13th, 14th, and then the following weekend, the 21st and 22nd. And if you get there half an hour early, show starts at 2. If you get there at 1:30, Tucson Audubon Society will be there to walk you around the park, around Valley of the Moon, and talk about birds and look at birds. So that'll be fantastic. And I hope you guys can all come. Luke, can you post our website there? It's Winding Road Theater Ensemble. And you
I actually did just post a link to Winding Road Theater and the specific link for the Birds of America.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. So I hope to see you guys all there. It's 2 weekends only, so get your tickets. It's a great show.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. Sorry, I didn't see you there earlier.
No, that's okay. Bring your
All right,
binoculars.
cool. Greg asked in the chat, what's the best time of year for a Southeast Texan to come for birding? Well, on that note, I would love to get to High Island sometime. Maybe we can trade birds a little bit. That's a cool area. I would say Arizona specialties, the best time is going to be August, which sounds crazy. But August, you kind of want to get out of Southeast Texas, I would think. Come over to Arizona during our monsoon season where we get most of our rain. And all of our Mexican specialties will be either still breeding or will be wrapping up their breeding. You get everything from red-faced warbler to elegant trogon to all the hummingbird species. They're all in town. Well, in the area, not in Tucson, but in the area. It's really the best time to be here. And for anyone coming out of state, while it sounds crazy to come here in August, it really is the most magical time to be here. So that's what I would suggest.
Thanks, Luke. Come to Southeast Texas and I'll hit you up with the High Island and even better, Sabine Woods.
All right. Is that near Beaumont? Is that close to Beaumont at all?
Yeah, it's just outside of Port Arthur. It's 20 minutes from my house.
I'm hoping to be there in 2023. I got too many vacations already planned for next year, but 2023, I'm there.
Well, I had 26 species of warblers in one day at Sabine Woods this spring.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Oh, yeah, Allison reminds me, in August, we have our bird festival. So that's another good reason to come. Next year is August 10th through 14th. So you can start planning it now if you want. Oh yeah, Rose River Picard, that's another one.
Well, I'll start planning. I've got a Big Bend trip scheduled for the first part of May, but I'm free in August.
Perfect. All right, Greg, we'll be in touch.
Thanks, appreciate it, brother.
Yep. Any other questions before we head out? All right. well, if there is anything else comes up, just let me know. Yeah, good to see all of you, and good to hear the voices and from all over the
Luke?
nation. It's awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
Luke, when's the burn at Sweetwater?
Yesterday. So the burn is over, and I don't know what it's going to look like, except I did hear from a friend today that there was more smoke than birds there. But then also, I'm trying to remember who was there. Oh, yeah, Applegate, not Jody. I'm trying to remember your name. I think, is it Jim Applegate? No, it's not Jim. I can't. You're on me. Anyways, trying to remember names. But you had like 36 species there this morning. So even though it's all charred and everything's burned, like the birds are there, they're going to come back. It's a part of rejuvenation. They haven't put the water back in there yet. I don't think that, no water in there yet, right? They haven't put the water in there. All right, no water. Okay, but I can see the head nodding no. So, but I believe that the water will probably be put back in there this weekend or early next week. So, oh yeah, Karen says go look for the soras. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of out in the open. They don't have as much cover. And right now, if there is any water at all there, which there probably isn't, there might be a few little spots, but they'll definitely be very concentrated right now if there is water. So, all right, I'm gonna head out. Thanks to all of you. And oh yeah, they're still a little active. I remember that like a few times there at Sweetwater, like after the burn, like you can still see the smoldering embers in some spots. All right, I'm gonna head out. Have a great rest of your afternoon. See
Thanks,
some good birds and find some cranes. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.